Deutsche Bank, SocGen, UniCredit, Morgan Stanley, even the Bundesbank, they're just some of the institutions gathering in Frankfurt today for a conference dubbed Banks in Upheaval. But to MF Global analyst Simon Maughan, that might be a misnomer. He says European banks aren't in crisis, and he's with us this morning from London to explain why. Simon, let's just start with that. Why, in your opinion, are European banks not in crisis? Because there's lots of people who say they still are.
Well, yes, the crisis for European banks has abated rather than being over. But what is important to differentiate what we've seen happening over the summer months is a clear differentiation between the bigger, stronger, often listed, stock market listed banks, which are in much better health than they've been at any time over the last 3 years. And that's reflected in their ability to raise capital quite readily now. And of course the state-sponsored banks, particularly in Germany, Italy, Spain, where there still are significant problems. But it's the demarcation, the differentiation between the strong and the weak that is really the point we're trying to get across.
Simon, capital is such a key question right now with the BIS formulating rules on capital adequacy and national governments and the EU debating the issue as well. What about the prospects for current investors? These banks may be able to raise capital, but doing so, isn't that going to be dilutive?
Well, it is, but I would point out that a number of the larger banks in Europe went into the stress tests that took place earlier in the summer in a far stronger position than the US banks had gone into their stress tests about 12 months earlier. And the reason for that is that those bigger banks had got on with raising capital. Now, when we move away from those big listed names, the BNPs, the Santanders, the Barclays of this world, and we start talking about German Landesbanks, state-owned banks, or Spanish savings banks, then yes, there are serious questions about the quality of capital that's available there. But we must remember, these are politically controlled vehicles, which are ultimately the responsibility of the state.